All right, man. Well, let's move on. What topic do you have prepared for us today, my friend?
So, like we said, it was a really slow news week, and there was nothing that I could come up with that screamed out to it. But I just thought this one was a really good debate, and I was really kind of curious to see what other people think about this because a lot of people have differing opinions on it. But for those of you that don't know, Ubisoft has a new game coming out, Watchdog Legion. Sounds like a fantastic concept, all that kind of stuff. I'm not here to talk about the game. I want to talk about a competition that they're hosting that is pretty much just dividing the fan base on the internet right now for a variety of reasons. But I'm kind of looking at the Kotaku article right here, but it's kind of reading the first paragraph from it. Last week, actor Joseph Love, Gordon Levitt, announced on Twitter that his music production company HitRecord once again partnered with Ubisoft, this time to help the publisher create 10 songs for its upcoming open world hacker game Watch Dogs Legion. This immediate reignited the old debate about the ethics of soliciting work for big budget games. So, pretty much what HitRecord is, it is an open platform that anyone can go in and submit beats to or lyrics or a full song or anything kind of like you want there, and then Ubisoft could come and put the beats and the lyrics and the drums together and create a song out of that, or they can just pick a song and all that kind of stuff, and they're coming to look to grab 10 of them, which sounds like a really cool opportunity in my eyes. I mean, anyone that wants to be part of a game would love for this, and they are paying one, so it's $2,000 a song. They have $20,000 out for this. Each song will get $2,000. So that's just kind of the basis of this. We can get more in the details as we start talking about this. But what people are really getting upset about is the argument that Ubisoft is just trying to save money or take advantage of their fans because they can do so. That they just think these people will do the free work for them with the hopeful idea that they're going to get paid for the hours and hours of work they put into that. But realistically, a lot of them won't be making any money and they're just doing it and it'll just go to waste. So a lot of people want to make the argument that Ubisoft is just trying to cut costs and not pay real producers or real people that make music by doing this cheap option and taking advantage of their fans is what people are saying is the other side, and their side's arguing that they're doing it because it's a cool opportunity for fans to really get involved.
Mhm.
So before I really break into the details or anything kind of like that, where do you stand? I mean, I know it's very picky about working for free online and all that kind of stuff right now, but do you think Ubisoft's trying to take advantage of people here?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Really?
do. Yeah, I do. I definitely do. And so this isn't an old argument. I mean, this isn't a new argument, and it's not even a new argument for Ubisoft. Something similar happened last year when during E3, JGL, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, our boy, stepped on stage at E3 to talk about how Hit Record was going to be facilitating a contest for Beyond Good and Evil in a similar fashion, where people could submit artwork that would be included in the game if Ubisoft were to select them. Now, the controversy there was that they were not transparent about whether or not this would be paid or if the grand prize was just being featured in a Ubisoft game. And so they clarified at the end that yes, the artist would be paid for their work.
Mhm.
And so they kind of got ahead of that ball rolling down the hill here. With the talk about publishers will be paying $20,000 for the original music, and so the artist being upfront that the artists are getting paid. And look, I think that the 10 original songs and the artist getting paid for the songs, like, okay, that's whatever. What I care more about are the thousands of people who will be toiling over their art for hours on end in order to submit it that won't see a single dime from it. So there's a name for this in creative work. It's called speculative work or spec work,
Backward.
where you submit your work speculatively in the hopes that somebody at the company will like the work enough to pay you for it. So this would be like me coming to you, Andrew, and saying like, hey, would you mind writing this article for my website for completely free? And if I like it, then I'm willing to pay you for it. But if not, you're kind of out on your ass and with nothing to show for it. But you can maybe go pitch it elsewhere. I am passionate about spec work and about working for exposure or working for opportunities for a number of reasons. And the first reason is that I've been there, right? I've been promised opportunities to create for certain things. Uh, I don't know what Howie's comment in the chat means. Boys, it's hit record like, oh, it's hit record like record a video. Haha. Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. Anyway, I'm passionate about this because I've been on the one side of it, right? Where it's like, hey, come write for our site for free, and you're going to get the exposure in order to step up into your career, in order to work somewhere else. And the thing about that is that's rarely how it works, right? I wrote for Twinfinite for a year and then went into freelance gaming, and I enjoyed my time at Twinfinite, and we were paid per click there, and we made not even I made some spending money when I was working at Twinfinite. I worked my ass off there, and you know what people did not give two shits about when I went and applied for other jobs? That I had worked for Twinfinite, right? So I'm passionate about it from that angle, but I'm also passionate about it from the side of I have asked people to do that for me as well, and I realize now how wrong it was to do that. I've asked people to write things for me or contribute to things that I've been doing for free, without any kind of compensation for them, and that's wrong. I ran a website called Two Left Sticks, and we had 10 people that were working for us and didn't see a dime from the site. I didn't see a dime from the site either, for the most part, but yeah, these were people who were coming thinking that they had some sort of opportunity, and you're taking advantage of people who are trying to get a break in it, right? So they don't understand the industry well enough to even take what they're going to be equipped with. And look, I understand writing a song for Ubisoft is probably a lot better for your resume than writing an article for Two Left Sticks or whatever. But at the end of the day, these people are inexperienced and don't know what to do with that following that their experience with it. So these were people who were coming to write for my site that were, number one, entering into it with absolutely no idea of what to expect, right? They're like, in their mind, they're just thinking, man, I got an email back from a guy who runs a gaming website. I'm going to start writing for them. Man, doors are starting to open. And it's like, that's just, it's not like that. It's a lot more work past this. This isn't some foot in the door that you can then just go start pushing your way in. And so, yeah. And I also just believe that people should be paid for the effort that they put in, especially if you as a company are going to benefit from it. So there's going to be thousands of people who submit artwork that they've toiled over that aren't going to see a dime from it. And I'm vehemently opposed to that, especially from a company like Ubisoft who can hire people to do this shit for them.
I'm really glad you stayed on that one because I am the exact opposite. I think that makes for such a better discussion here, just kind of seeing the two sides of it. And I want to get in that. I understand the spec work and all that kind of stuff, but that's not how I'm seeing this. They're already paying people for 140 songs. It is going to be an 150 song soundtrack. It is not like it is going to be a 20 song soundtrack and they're asking people to make half of the songs for very little money that you pay one of those people probably to make. So I see it as more of a competition. It's one of those competitions that you grow up that I did all the time. If it's like, hey, go make a ad for blank, and I think I did one for I don't know, it was something stupid. I think it was some kind of drink. I think it was like Mountain Dew or something. It was like make a Mountain Dew ad. I remember doing this. I didn't win or anything, but that's how I see this. I see it as people that like this would be a really cool opportunity and a really fun story to tell or something to brag to their friends about. And oh, cool, you're getting a little bit of money or prizes out of it. I see this more as a competition more than a gig. That these are kind of approaching to people that are fans of Watch Dogs, fan of Ubisoft, and it's like, oh, like I have a little bit of musical talent. And the thing is that they're focusing and giving you the ability to collaborate. So you don't have to do the whole song yourself, but it's an argument that you've probably already heard because we listen to the same podcast, but it's something that I really agree with. But it's like you can get one friend to do this and another friend to do that and kind of come together and create the song. And it focuses more on that. And it's a fun competition with monetary reward, not an excuse to make half of your soundtrack for cheap. I think people that are looking at this as a way to get around composers argument kind of goes away when a 95% of the songs are being paid for at full price, 140 songs. I just feel like that kind of gets away with that thing that they're treating this as a competition and a fun way to interact with the community rather than a chance to build out their soundtrack. They'd be fine without these 10 songs. They're going out of their way to include these.
Mm-hmm. And what I would say to that is, number one, I don't necessarily care how many songs that they're paying for. I mean, because if they weren't doing this contest, they were going to have to pay people to do it one way or the other. So it was going to happen either way.
Or they just don't have these 10 songs.
No. I'm saying in order to have a soundtrack, they were going to have to pay somebody to do it regardless, you know? And so they're still taking advantage of this idea of like, look at this awesome opportunity that you have to be a part of this game, to, you know, be able to say that you have a song in Watchdog Legions in order to commission thousands of songs that they are only going to select 10 from that people are going to see any kind of fruit of their labor for. And I find that wrong. And also I realize what Howie was trying to say. It's not hit record, it's hit record, like record a video. And then the ha 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 was not that he was making a joke, he was laughing at our stupidity. We were pronouncing the name wrong.
Oh.
It's hit record. So apologies, Howie. Thank you for the clarification. Yes, all of that, Luke. Anyway, so I don't know. I am more, because there are people who it's the American Idol, right? Of music composition. There's going to be tons of people who show up for this thing without any opportunity to find any even semblance of success in doing it. And yet Ubisoft is going to get all of this free publicity from having the contest, all of this free word of mouth from having the contest, just like American Idol got all of that free footage from all of the terrible auditions that came forward, you know, those sorts of things. And you are taking advantage of your fan base by trying to say that, hey, everybody should try to get their song in here, when in reality, there's 10 people that are going to win, and it's 10 people who likely have some sort of massive following on social media, who already produce a ton of music and have that pedigree and that talent. And so you're taking advantage of a fan base that has very little possibility of actually finding success in the contest.
Let's do a scenario here. So let's say, I mean, we're both big gaming guys. We both know kind of where we want. I'm taking advantage of knowing what you want in the future. So let's say that E3 tomorrow said, we're doing a competition. We're going to pick 10 people that get media badges next year. And all you need to do is make a 3-minute explainer video explaining why your media site should get into E3 for the media badge, all included. We fly you out there and all that kind of stuff. Are you telling me you wouldn't take advantage of that?
I would not. I would say, fuck that. You guys give out hundreds of these things a year. I'm going to submit through those channels, and if we're worthy of getting one by the proper channels, we'll get it. I'm not going to dance monkey dance for your PR. I'm not going to dance because you tell me to dance, because you're dangling some carrot that at the end of the day, I'm going to go over there and I'm just going to promote a bunch of commercials that people have made anyway. I'm not going to dance for that shit. I'm going to work to build the thing that I do by the channels that I'm going to build them to do it. And if I make it there through the right channels, I'm not going to work my ass off for something that has a 5% chance of working, or a 1% chance, or a 1% chance. Like, fuck that, dude. No way.
Huh. I guess that's just the universal difference, because I grew up and I love I mean, I'm competitive. I love competition. And yes, I'm if in the same thing, and I want us to be at E3 next year as well, too. Then just if we don't win, I'm still going to build it up and try to get there myself. But I'm a competitive person, and I see that chance, and I'm like, well, I can do both. Well, I can get the automatic E3 slot and then build up and have that as a focal point for next year. I see that as a competition. I'm a competitive person. I want to prove myself in as many ways as possible. And I don't see that as dance monkey dance. I see that as an opportunity. In today's world, you take up every opportunity you can get. Yes, not every single chance is going to guarantee you. Your year 2020 didn't get you a job. But if I got a free automatic pass to E3 and I have a chance of that, I'm going to take that, because it's a shortcut. In today's world, shortcuts do make a difference.
Look, I am not saying that I am only going to do something if there's 100% guaranteed chance of it working. That's not how life works, right? But I am definitely not going to do something when the distinct advantage is to the person who is putting the competition on. So take, for example, this is... well, fuck that. Well, this is another thing, right? Here's an example. You've probably read stories about like software companies who try to hire developers, and they're like, hey, for a trial run, while we're considering you, we're going to need you to code out this feature that we're looking to build.
No, that's totally different.
How is that fucking different? That is not different at all.
No.
Holy shit, that is not different at all. You're asking somebody, you're saying, hey, you have the opportunity for your music to be in my game. Do you mind going and taking 10 to 12? How long do you think it takes to produce a song, Andrew? Oh, no. Hell of a long time.
That is different in a way that it says if you want this job, you need to do the work first. They're not promising you a job. They're not promising you anything. They're saying this is a chance. That is totally different because they would...
That is not different at all. It's not different at all.
They're hiring someone for a position. Here, they're giving people an opportunity to like have a story to tell the grandkids. It's totally different. Oh my
gosh,
they're not promising you from a full-time paying job.
I feel like
if you get the song in the game.
I feel like an old fuck right now because this sounds like a generational thing. When I interviewed for my job at my marketing company, they made me write 2 example pieces. For the copywriter position, they paid me for both of those. They were never actually even live published. But they paid me for that work because they were like, you put in time to do this. This is what you do professionally. Here's your fucking money for it. Like, that's the way that life should work.
Well, it's fucking coming from the ass. So like they say in this chat, Zoomer versus Boomer. We don't get paid for that anymore. We're barely making
You shouldn't accept the fact that you don't get paid for it. That's a terrible fucking thing. And these kinds of contests just perpetuate that thinking of like, I'm just going to throw the chaff at the wind and see what catches. That's stupid as shit, man.
But if you want to be successful in life as a millennial right now, that's what you need to do.
Andrew, I am successful in life. I have a good paying job at a good company.
In a different time and you knew you're 10 years older than me. You're a generation.
I am how older? How much older? Andrew, I'm about to kick you off this fucking podcast. I am 29 years old. I am not 10 years older than you. That's Larry. Larry's 35.
Okay. But still, 8 years apart. We grew up in totally different times. 8 years is totally different.
My point is this, Andrew. I'm going to give you this little life advice right here, okay? Unless you are building something for yourself, get paid for the shit that you do, all right? Unless you are building something for yourself, get paid for the shit that you do, all right? There's no stepping stone at which you should be like, I'm willing to put in 12 hours of absolutely free work to these people who don't give 2 fucking shits about me. Ubisoft does not give a shit about any of these artists, the 10 that are going to get selected included, all right? So you should not be going out of your way. If you're going to take the 12 hours to try to produce something for Ubisoft, produce it for yourself instead.
You still own the rights. You still can go and put it on Spotify afterward.
Oh
it's
my
not
gosh.
Like giving them the work. It's music. You can put that anywhere.
I totally disagree with this idea of like, let's mobilize our fan base. We're not going to see eye to eye on this. I can tell. And I like that. This is why I'm really excited about having guests. I'm not excited about them going and listening to this first example of us having a guest because they're like, man, Luke really yells at these guys. But Andrew and I are friends outside of the show.
Yeah.
So, but no, I just think that like, unless you were building something for yourself, you should get paid for all the effort that you put in. And I've been lucky enough in life to have people who agree with that concept. I've had hard conversations with people who have asked me to take on additional responsibility with no extra pay for it, and I've had to tell them no, because I just think like my time is worth just as much as yours, and if I'm going to put extra time or extra effort or extra expertise in, I deserve some sort of compensation for that. I've freelanced for places who have told me they're not going to publish an article that I've submitted after the pitch was accepted. You know what you get? A kill fee. They pay you a portion of whatever you were going to make for that article because they say, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to move on. Mm-hmm. And I put far less time into things that have gotten kill fees than people are going to put into hoping to win some contest that thousands of people are going to submit to.
there's nothing I can say that can convince you of, and there's
No.
nothing you can convince me of your point of view.
No, you grew up in the whole like, what's up, YouTube guys? Come and select me, and so I could go fly out and go to E3. Like that's what you're right. That's what your generation did, and I don't understand it. And I think that you'll actually come to a point in your life as well where you'll look back and you'll be like, man, why did I do all this shit for free?
No, I already feel like that, but I know I have to. It's a different time you're into your career, Luke. Like you're sitting off well. If I want to do what I want to do in life, I have to do shit for free.
Oh man, you don't. You really don't. And we can talk about it off air because you don't. You don't. You just you're accepting that you have to. But I think we need to put the screws to people who are asking you to do shit for free and say like, look, this isn't right. Like, is my time less valuable than yours? Because it's not. Like, we just have this whole view, right? And this is moving beyond the Ubisoft story, and it's even moving beyond the gaming space and the creative space. It's moving on to just how we view work in this culture of just like, we have to stop viewing this like transaction. We have to stop viewing this as like experience and exposure to these transactional things that we can offer. Like unpaid internships are shit. Because you're doing work that benefits people. And yeah, you can put in on your resume that you have an internship here or here. Everybody has that. Like, it's not a differentiator. Like, we need to move to this point where people recognize that as long as we live in a currency-based world where we have to exchange money for goods, then we have to recognize that the people that are doing things for us, their time is worth us paying for it. And Ubisoft is not respecting that, what I believe is a basic concept, right? So Howie says corporate America.
Yeah, it's our viewpoint that I see it as a competition for a chance, and you see it as an opportunity for someone that deserves it to get paid real money.
Mm-hmm. And I also see it as an opportunity for a corporation to take advantage of a fan base that they've built, who will have no opportunity, but will talk it up as if they do. Just like my first day at Twinfinite, I was like, yeah, guys, I'm at Twinfinite. It's a paying gig. I'm going to be able to quit my job at some point. Here I am, years later, still getting paid by the man.
I just like to see, I am an optimist. I always like to see the best in everyone.
So what's the song you're submitting to Ubisoft? What's it called?
I ain't submitting shit. Because I don't have that skill set.
Yeah.
But there are
just like most of the people that'll be submitting to this.
Exactly, but I don't want to get into another point because I have a bigger point on all this kind of stuff that I know you're going to do.
No, go ahead. I'm all ears. We're an hour and 15 into this podcast. My ears are very sweaty from all the yelling.
So, this is how I treat it. I am not against people working for free if it's something they're passionate about and they don't have the skills to get to where you're working for. So, I am creating my own thing because I have the skills to create a website from scratch and all that. I have the skills to get popped off to where it is now. You have the skills to get Player versus All to where it is now. There are people that can't do what we can. There are people that can't figure out how to make a website or create content consistently or build a community or anything like that. So, and I couldn't early on either. That's why I did unpaid writing gigs to learn. I learned how to build what I've built now, which isn't huge, but I didn't have that skill set before getting that experience. I believe experience is crucial to be able to build things for yourself, and that opportunities that may not be paid right away give you the skill set or give you the knowledge to do it for yourself. I agree, eventually, everything you should do should be building it for yourself. You should not work for free forever. But I think if you want to gain experience writing about games and you have no idea how to do that, you couldn't build a website. I couldn't build a website when I first started. So I went and worked for someone for free for several months. They taught me the editing process. They taught me team management. They taught me about Slack and using that to communicate and to build a website. They helped me with all of that. They gave me value and experience that I was brought over to do my own thing. And I could not have done that without that experience. You should not be working for free hoping to turn it into a full-time job, but I'm not against working for free to use that to gain experience, to turn it into something yourself.
Yeah, we disagree there. And again, going back to I disagree with that for two reasons. From the personal standpoint of just when I worked at Two Left Sticks, when I ran Two Left Sticks and seeing the wake of people who I really did just take advantage of, who were looking for experience and opportunity, and I didn't have the infrastructure set up to be able to pay them for the things that they were doing. Like I had things that I could teach them, and I felt that I could teach them, but it was unfair of me to ask them to give portions of their life without being compensated for them. Even if it was in whatever experiences or lessons that they learned from me leading them. But I also think this. I had 10 12 people at any given time contributing to the site, and 90% of those people were people that looking back had no business contributing to my site because of their lack of skills, because of their lack of experience, and the quality of the work that they put forward. Right. If you want to start somewhere though, and it's a creative business like writing or like music creation, something like that, start building something on your own. It's free to go start up your own blog and start honing and crafting your skills there. Get your friends to read your shit and give you honest feedback on it. Like that's the way to do it. It's not to let a guy like me running Two Left Sticks say, hey, come over and work for me, and you can get some experience and hopefully learn a thing or two from me, and then go on from here. Like that's not the way to do it. And people that were in my position should not be looking for people like that to exploit. And people who are in the position of looking for experience should not be willing to do those things for free. Just when there's so many opportunities and channels for you to just go build your own thing and craft your own experience, and you're not lining the pockets or benefiting somebody else. Not that my pockets were getting lined or anything. Go for Real says this topic is actually super thought provoking. Love it, guys. Because I think what you've described, Andrew, is the internship model, right? Like that idea of like, hey, come do a 3-month internship at our company, and we're gonna work you to the bone, and you're gonna grab our coffee and make our copies and do this shit, and you're gonna be able to walk away and say, I worked for 3 months at such and such company. I don't really have any real world experience of doing the things that company did because I was just a lackey, but hey, I worked for this company. Like,
but no, that's not what I believe. I'm totally against those kind of free gigs, but I again have done free gigs, and I've been very picky about when I do free stuff when I feel like there's something I can gain out of it. I mean, there's only so much you can gain by doing it yourself. Because when you get to a different website or you have other people in the organization and working with other people, it is a different environment than starting your own blog. I had my own blog. I was writing by myself too, publishing on Medium and all that kind of stuff at the same time. And I gained valuable experience through there too. But I also understood of what someone that was an editor looked for in pieces, understood pitches and all that kind of stuff a little bit more, and understand the idea of pitching and all that kind of stuff. But I still don't understand fully, but I had zero experience with that before. I think there are situations where, yes, you need to build it yourself and grow. But I think, and I was only there for about a month, but I gained experience, and I realized, okay, I gained what I can from here and get out. I don't think you should work there thinking eventually it'll turn into something bigger. But I'm not against someone going in and working it free for a month, getting everything they can out of it, and then get out.
So
because if you're not gaining experience, you are just being used. But if you are still gaining things and learning things, I think that's a different situation in my with how I grew up.
And I think where we can maybe agree on something here, just to show that we still love each other, is I do believe that if you in your mind decide like, hey, I'm willing to go out and do something for free, that it's America, baby. Like, go do your thing if that's the way that you think is the best way forward to get experience. But the problem that I have is I think that we have been conditioned as a society to think that that's what's expected of us. That you work for free and gain the experience in the hopes of being able to get another opportunity. I'm published at several other outlets that I did freelance work for, and yes, I leveraged some of my pitching experience from Twinfinite and my writing experience across a number of other websites and stuff. But at the end of the day, I had 3 strong pieces that I linked to in every single pitch that I sent out that I could have produced in my own blog, published on Twinfinite. It didn't matter if it was lukecroft.wordpress.com or twinfinite.net. Like, the editor that was looking at it didn't give a shit. They cared about my writing chops and whether or not I was capable of producing quality stuff. And it was 3 pieces of content that got me there. They weren't looking and saying, "Oh, he spent a year at Twinfinite. We're gonna give him this pitch." They were looking and saying, man, he's got skills and talent to do this thing, and so we're going to pay him. And so that's why I think like there's a really great opportunity for young creators to go and create their own stuff, build their own portfolio for themselves, and then go out and use that portfolio that they fully own and say, hey, check this out. Are you interested in hiring me to produce something for you? But when you start getting into this, like, oh, I'm going to give 6 months of my life over or 3 months of my life over for completely free in order to just gain some experience or whatever, like, that's not a cultural difference, right? I mean, internships were a huge thing when I was.
Yeah, I don't think that's right either.
Yeah, internships were a huge thing when I was, you know, a young professional. I'm still a young professional. I'm talking like I'm fucking 45, but no, I think we agree that if you think that that's your best path forward, have at it. But what I worry is that we've established a culture that thinks that that's the expectation.
Yeah, and yeah, and really, I think thinking more about it, kind of as we're talking about, like they said, it's thought provoking. And I think part of what it is that I think there's validation. Is I think what I get a lot out of it too, is that if someone's willing to publish my stuff, I think that's what it was early on, the publishing, that I always felt validated and motivated almost, that someone that what I felt like was much bigger than me was publishing stuff and that I felt like I deserved there. And I think that's something important. But thinking more about it, there's other ways to get that validation. And
like a paycheck. Nothing quite like the validation of that direct deposit, baby.
I agree. And then I think thinking more back on it, and I mean, not changing my entire mindset, but I think for your first few articles, yes, publishing on your own websites, but I don't want to turn people away from pitching an article to a website that's not going to pay them just to get a byline. I still don't think that's bad. That's validation that you may not be great enough to get paid right now, but it's a stepping stone. I agree. I believe in stepping stones, and I do agree in check marks and all that kind of stuff, and that moving forward motivates you. Seeing little things motivates you. And going,
are you saying a personal stepping stone or a professional stepping stone?
Both.
See, I would say maybe it's a personal stepping stone to say I've got a byline here. But I'm going to tell you this right now, man, and this is not to disparage anything you're doing and anything I'm doing, you know, but like a byline at Player versus All that I'm not going to pay you for doesn't mean jack shit professionally. No one's going to give a shit.
But it's the first byline. But for me, like for how I saw it was my first byline. Is that yes, it wasn't paid. Yes, I didn't put that much time into it. Yes, it wasn't great. But yeah, maybe it is kind of more professional, a personal one. But for me, how my personal life pushes forward my professional life, because those are very, very close to me compared to some people. So that once I got that first article published on a website that wasn't mine, I felt more motivated to create content on all tiers. And I stepped away, and that's when I started doing Project Esports and popped off. But that's because I felt like I went to that next step and I was at that point.
Yeah.
So it was a personal one, but pushed forward my professional.
Yeah, it was well, and what I mean by the distinction is like, is it something that's personally motivating you or something that you think people are going to look at professionally and think and find value in it, right? And I'm just of the mind, like, if it's not a byline that the outlet's willing to pay you for, it's from an outlet that no other outlet's going to care about, you know? And look, I have experience at an outlet who has done that, and I've worked at outlets who have done that as well, and people just don't care. Like, I really want to continue the conversation about site structure in the post show and the after party lounge. And so, because I know you're building your own thing and I'm building my own thing, and I want us to kind of talk about how we're going to approach paying and, you know, monetizing our platforms and propping up voices as well, which I think is another big thing that a lot of other gaming outlets don't do. But again, I want to talk about that in the post show. I think we're about an hour and a half in, so we should start wrapping things up. Great discussion. I appreciate the topic.
It was really good.
And I appreciate your willingness to come on. And I think you used the word bicker in a tweet earlier, and I just thought about the Golden Girls, and I loved it. So, so we did our own bickering on this podcast as well, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.